मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यस्य कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome to the Saturday and Sunday series on Sri Harinam Chintamani, especially on the topic of pramad, inattentive chanting, which is the root of all offenses. So yesterday we looked into Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's definition of what is pramad. He first defines what exactly is pramad. He says the root meaning of pramad is inattention. And then he goes on to explain that this pramad is of three types. It is of three types: Audasina, Jad, Vikshep. Audasina is indifference or no attention, means lack of faith in devotional service. Jad is laziness, it means inertia in devotional service. And Vikshep means mind dwelling on other objects. So all these three are the different types of pramad. And yesterday we went into a quite detailed discussion of how we can counteract this. And we saw some of the principles from the Bhagavad Gita. And the first principle was that we need to actually concentrate. And for concentration, one of the most important implementations in our chanting is the pranayam technique. So yesterday we saw the pranayam technique a little bit, although it has to be demonstrated by a skit. But since we are having this sessions online, it is difficult. But yesterday, briefly, I discussed about the pranayam technique to be used while chanting so that we can balance the airs in the body while chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And focus our mind's attention on hearing the holy name. So this was one of the most important principles we discussed yesterday. And then we went into the discussion of how when we want to concentrate and fix our mind in hearing the holy name, the mind and senses uh, put a lot of distractions. And in order to place our conscious attention, we have to fix on the third eye, because there is greater peace, and we can subdue the mind and the senses, and we can be in the present. We have to be, the mind has to be in the present to hear the holy name, and the mind has not to remorse on the past or be fearful about the future. These are the thoughts in which the mind can swing in the past and the future. We have to be in the present. So the second important principle what we saw was to focus on the Agya Chakra. And I did not go more in technical discussion of the Agya Chakra because that is a very technical and elaborate subject. But we saw that this principles Krishna speaks in the Bhagavad Gita. Hmm? Chakshush Chaivantara Bhruvo. In 5.27, he speaks about it. Then in 8.10, he speaks about Bhruvor Madhye Pranan Avesh Samyak. So I explained how to concentrate on the eyebrows is difficult for sadhakas, and it is takes a lot of energy and efforts. So first best is to go a little inwards, take your eyes a little inwards and try to see the nasika, the tip of the nose, and focus in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra so that the senses need not wander and the mind's attention is hearing in the holy is fixed in hearing the holy name. And as we practice this, observing the tip of the nose and uh, fixed in our chanting and attentive hearing, slowly, over a period of time, I would recommend over a period of 6 months or a year or a two also, in fact, that we can even close our eyes and the distraction of the sense impressions in the heart will not make the mind to wander all over the universe. And then we can internally little uh, draw ourselves inward, and then we can focus on the Agya Chakra and attentively vibrate the mantra and hear the mantra. It is possible with a lot of practice over a period of months and years, I would recommend. So, this is the second important principle which we saw yesterday. And then we came to the posture. The posture has to be straight and correct. So, we saw this verse from 6.11 to 6.14 from the sixth chapter, how we should properly sit in a proper asana. And sitting in this proper asana, we should chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The asana should be wide enough, which will cover your entire leg region. So that is what the third principle what we spoke yesterday. And the most important point here in 6.13 is Samam Kaya Shirogrivam. Samam means in a straight line, keeping the body, hand, neck straight and motionless. And here it is mentioned gazing at the tip of the nose. So this is either it is mentioned sometimes in the Ashtanga Yoga, fixing on the tip of the nose or in between the eyebrows. So here Krishna is saying tip of the nose, and we use this. This is another important principle in chanting without looking in other directions. Disascha anvalokayan. Moment when we start beginning to chant, uh, the false ego cannot handle this because the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is going to destroy the false ego. So the false ego goes on a defense and it tells the mind, please start wandering all over the universe. So the mind will start scheming how to distract this soul from chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And sometimes the mind will say, please look that side. What is happening there? Oh, that devotee, he is No, he's not chanting attentively. He's chanting very loudly, or he is not properly pronouncing. And at the same time, we are chanting. Our Mahamantra is going on, but the mind has gone into a conversation loop. And this conversation goes on perpetually. And our chanting is also going on at the other end. So, this is how the mind tricks us. And that is why it is always better not to look in any other directions. Best is to sit straight and focus on the tip of the nose. Best is to a little bit, the neck should be a little up, not straight, a little up, and vibrate the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So, this is the third important principle what we discussed yesterday. And we can see how relaxed is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur sitting here in his posture. And this should be how our hand should be relaxed. And here is the best posture you can see for chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And he's in a Dhyan Mudra, and you can see the torso, the neck, and the head are in straight line. So the posture helps in uh, the mind to be fixed in hearing the holy name. So the posture is very, very important for attentive chanting. If you have heard the famous Mahamantra chanting of Srila Prabhupada, where Prabhupada is chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, in between he'll say, sit properly, sit properly. The words are there. You can see, you can hear the recording of Srila Prabhupada there. So we have to sit in a proper posture. The Vedanta Sutra also mentions that without sitting in a proper posture in dhyan, one cannot achieve meditation. There's a particular verse of the Vedanta Sutra which Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan quotes in his Bhagavad Gita commentary. So, meditation is important in chanting the holy name, and meditation can happen only when you're sitting in the asana. I don't have the reference. Maybe next time I'll show you the reference, but it is there. The verse is there from the Vedanta Sutra quoted by Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan. Now, today we'll begin the discussion further. Now, we have discussed these three principles which help us to get rid of Audasin, Jad, and Vikshep. Further about what is Audasin, Jad, Vikshep, and what is the counteraction, let us discuss. If a sadhaka then continues to focus on the sound vibration of the holy name and in using his inner sight, he follows the Mahamantra, seeing and hearing only the holy name, the mantra can take him over the next part of his journey, the uprooting of all anarthas. So, if we follow these three principles, what we discussed yesterday quite in detail, and I just summarize now. So, if we focus on hearing the sound vibration, Prabhupada repeatedly said, just vibrate the mantra and hear the mantra. In chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, we have to vibrate with our tongue and hear the mantra. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else. Prabhupada recommended nothing else. Just hear the mantra. And in using his inner sight. So this inner sight is especially when we focus, when we take ourselves inward, when we take the eyes inwards and fix on the tip of the nose, or we are in our inward vision in fixing our attention and focus on the eyebrows, in between the eyebrows. So we are in the present moment and we are hearing the holy name attentively. So this is the inner insight. And he is able to now follow the Maha Mantra. Then what will do? What will the mantra do? The mantra will deep go into the heart. And in the heart, the chitta is filled with anarthas. And these anarthas will be washed away. It will be washed away. It will be uprooted. It will be uprooted. So, just like a farmer, when he is growing paddy field, when there is paddy, or you can say jawar, or uh, corn. So uh, if they have grown quite enough to a certain height, then the farmer sees that he has to go deep inside, and on the ground he can see there are a lot of weeds. So he has to stretch himself deep inside the ground within the paddy field and go there down, and he has to remove the weeds. These weeds are called as upashaka in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So these upashakas are anarthas which have to be uprooted. So similarly, when we follow these three principles, what we discussed, the pranayam technique, uh, inner sight by focusing on the tip of the nose or in between the eyebrows, and sitting in a proper posture, we are able to follow the Mahamantra, be in the present, hear the Mahamantra, and the Mahamantra will go deep into the core of our heart and start uprooting the anarthas. In this way, the distractions of Audasina, Jad, and Vikshep can be overcome. So only by following these techniques, we can become free from the distractions of Audasin, Jad, and Vikshep. This is the teaching of these texts, that one may become aware of the various distractions and avoid them during japa and service. Not only during japa should we avoid these distractions, but even during our service. If we have done very good japa, then we'll be very, very attentive in our service. If we are inattentive in our service, that inattention in service will also uh, reflect in our inattention in Nama Seva also. So both vice versa have their effect. So that is why we should be very, very careful that we consciously chant the japa. And once we have done our rounds very nicely, it will reflect in our service that we attentively will do the service and will not also commit seva aparadhs. Because Srila Vishwanath Chakra Thakur in his Madhurya Kadamani explains that there are different types of seva aparadhs. And usually there are counteractions mentioned if we have done unintentionally some seva aparadh. After the seva is over, especially the deity service, we chant the mantras or we recite one chapter of Gita, Bhagavad Gita. But if we consciously keep on committing the seva aparadhs, the seva aparadhs will automatically turn into nam aparadh. So this is the point that we should be very, very attentive even in our service. And many devotees sometimes ask questions that we will chant our 16 rounds very attentively, sitting in a proper posture, very devotedly. But after that, if you want to do extra rounds, can we be a little casual while driving the car? We can chant, or while doing walking or whatever it is. Can we do those 4 extra rounds like that? But if you start doing those extra rounds without paying much attention and full focus, that habit which we do in the 4 rounds will slowly have effect in our 16 rounds, because that is how the mind's nature is. So that is why we should be careful to avoid both in our service and japa. The most important seva is nama seva. It is very important to have fixed resolve, be enthusiastic, and to place one's attention on the sound vibration of the Mahamantra. These 3 positive applications that should be implemented. Fixed resolve, being enthusiastic, and placing one's attention on the sound vibration of the Mahamantra. So these are the 3 positive things which should be implemented in our chanting. If one is conscious about this during the period of japa, one can begin to look into the second battleground, where one will internalize one's meditation and begin to chant the Maha Mantra in a more silent manner. So, one who is able to consciously avoid all these distractions and follow these principles, three principles which I discussed, what happens? He goes now to the inner battleground. The inner battleground is within ourselves, within our subtle body. And he will now be able to internalize his meditation, and he can softly chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra and be absorbed in chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra softly like that. So that is what will happen uh, if we can follow these techniques and principles. In Lord Chaitanya's instruction on chanting, the three positive prerequisites to perfecting one's chanting that are mentioned in the shloka are as follows. So this is in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Bhagavat, in one of the chapters, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructs his devotees that chant this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This Maha Mantra is only once described in the Chaitanya Bhagavat. Chaitanya Charitamrita doesn't describe the Maha Mantra. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, the Maha Mantra is described apart from the references from the Kali Santana Upanishads. And then Mahaprabhu speaks this verse. Prabhu bole kahilan ei Maha Mantra iha jap giya sabe kariya nirbandha. After Mahaprabhu recited the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, Mahaprabhu says, Prabhu bole Kahilan ehi Maha Mantra. This is the Maha Mantra. Iha Japa Giya. Chant this Maha Mantra very sincerely. Saba Karya Nirbandha. And chant it incessantly. Nirbandha means continuously. So here we can draw three principles from what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying in this verse. Sincerity, enthusiasm, incessantly. So three principles we can draw from this verse. These three prerequisites are very important and need further clarification. These three prerequisites, sincerity, enthusiasm, and incessantly. To clarify these most important instructions from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we need further clarification. What is the sincerity, enthusiasm, and incessantly? Firstly, sincerity or having fixed resolve and determination to succeed is the positive aspect of audasina or apathy. Somebody tells you, Prabhuji, please do this service. Arey, dekhenge baad mein. When you say na, that is audasin, indifference. You show indifference. Somebody has given you a service. Wow, I should do this. I should be fixed in my resolve and determination to do it. So we should show our sincerity when we sit for japa, that I will be fixed here. I will not move from here. I will keep all my distractions away. That means my mobile, my to-do things. I'll just sit before the deities or before the pictures of Radha and Krishna or before Tulsi Maharani, and I will chant my fixed number of rounds. So this is sincerity. So we should have this fixed resolve and determination to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and this shows our sincerity. And by this, we can counteract audasina. When sincerely trying to chant, one will not be apathetic in one's approach. Chanting with sincerity means chanting with heart. So we should chant from the deep core of our heart, and that shows our sincerity, and we can avoid audasina. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur is to tell a very important principle. Chant Hare Krishna from not lip deep, but heart deep. So this is also a very important principle we should remember, we should chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra not from lip deep, but heart deep. So what does this mean from lip deep and not heart deep? Uh, I'll give you a very graphic example to understand. Suppose two, three friends have gone on the top of a hill and they are enjoying the beautiful scenery there, the sunset which is happening on the hill, they are seeing. And suddenly, talking and chatting, uh, one of the friends slips from the hill, and the other friends don't see that. And he slips, and now he's falling from the hill. And suddenly, by good fortune, he holds on to a branch of a tree. And now he's hanging, about to fall down, deep down on the ground where he'll be crushed. His bones will be crushed. And his friends are not aware. They're still chatting on the top, and now he's hanging below. How will he call out for help? How will he call? How will we call his friends for help? Raise your hands to answer this. How will he call? How will he call out his friends for help? Anyone would like to answer? I would like to see some others also. Yes, Shushil Radhika Mataji. Yes, Mataji, I've unmuted him.
Hare Krishna,
How will he
Dandavad
call?
Prabhuji. First of all, he'll shout loudly, he'll cry out.
I wanted that term, he'll cry out. His cry is coming from the core of his heart because he's in a dangerous situation. Similarly, we should call out from the heart. We have to cry out the Mahamantra. And Srila Prabhupada explains just like the child cries for the mother. And when the child cries out for the mother hearing the voice of the child can understand, oh, he really wants me to come there to serve him. He is in trouble. So the mother will leave her work and attend the child. So Srila Prabhupada gives the same explanation of when he speaks about the Mahamantra meaning. So we have to cry out from the core of our heart the Mahamantra, cry out for the shelter of Srimati Radharani and Krishna. So that is why our chanting should be from the heart. If we are just chanting from the mouth, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare, casually, it's only lip deep. But we should really cry out from the heart, seeking shelter that we are now drowning in the deep ocean of samsara. Please lift me, O Krishna. So these we should be the meditations before we begin our chanting. So this is the first counteraction or the positive application, that is sincerity for Audasina. Next, having enthusiasm for chanting is the positive application for preventing jad or laziness. If one is enthusiastic until the completion of one's duties, one simply cannot come under the sway of sleep in its many forms. Jad means, you're like this. Sometimes you see devotees are chanting Hare Krishna, and then they go like this. They are like jad. Jad means, there's no life in it. So this is called as jad. So the sleep is one of the reasons, and there are many kinds of sleeps which can distract one from chanting. But if you're enthusiastic, oh, I'm going to chant my 16 rounds, and until I finish my 16 rounds, I'll not attend to anything else. It is me and Krishna. That's it. No one else. So one should be very, very enthusiastic about his chanting. There are different statements you can make, uh, and these statements, these emotions in these statements can indicate our enthusiasm. So I will make three statements, And among these three statements, we have to identify which is Jad. Jad is basically the mode of ignorance, and which is neutral and which is positive. If I say, oh, I have to chant my rounds, and if I say, I will chant my rounds, and if I say, I would love to chant my rounds. So in these three statements, you'll have to identify what is Jad statement, what is a positive statement in one sense, and which is a statement which is a neutral statement, you can say, and which is a positive statement. The three statements, once again, I'll repeat. Oh, I have to chant my rounds. And then you say, I will chant my rounds. I would love to chant my rounds. So raise your hands who would like to try to answer this. What about others? Are they online or no? Okay, there are 3 hands which have been raised. Oh, many have raised their hands. So it becomes difficult for me. I'll give those who have still not spoken. Satananda Chaitanya Prabhuji. Yes, Satananda Chaitanya Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanat Pranam. Can you hear me, Prabhu?
Yes, yes.
Prabhu, according to me, the first statement is a negative statement. And the third one is like enthusiastic.
Yes.
And the second one, I would say, is neutral.
Yeah, it's determination also that I will chant my rounds. I would love to chant my rounds is more of enthusiasm. And, you know, when you make the statement, your body language, your words you're using shows your psychology. Oh, I have to chant my rounds. When you say that, that means, you know, you're affected by the mode of ignorance. So that is how one has to be enthusiastic when you're going to begin chanting. So this is how we can avoid Jad. Now, further, what exactly is Jad? Laziness descends on those who are not sincerely trying. Thus, Jad is the next level down of Audasina. And Audasina, apathy, must therefore exist within Jad. So there is Audasin, and below that is Jad. So within Jad, there is Audasin. So Jad is a deeper level of Audasin in one sense. So in Jad, there is Audasin present. Having enthusiasm for chanting uproots the possibility of one's being lazy. So enthusiasm is a counteraction for avoiding Jad. And third, if one chants Nirbandha, Vikshepa is availed. So in that verse, Mahaprabhu had mentioned to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Nirbandha. So Nirbandha, what is Nirbandha now? The word Nirbandha translates as 64. This is a big, you can say, a bomb for us. Nirbandha is what? 64. What has a better connotation and gives better results when it is translated in practical terms as incessantly. So Nirbandh, the highest understanding is to chant incessantly. That means 24 hours. Because Mahaprabhu in Trinadapi Sunichena Shloka says, Kirtaniya Sadahari. So now we can understand that Nirbandh or chanting 64, that was the standard Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur had in his Gaudiya Math. And this standard of 64 rounds was more not for his brahmacharya disciples who are staying in the mud, but for his grahastha disciples. He expected that his grahastha disciples should chant 64 rounds, and uh, he told that because his grahastha disciples are more directly involved in the material energy, because they are working, they are maintaining their family, they are more connected to the outside world. So Maya, in order to counteract that Maya, he expected his disciples, his grahastha disciples, to chant 64 rounds. The brahmacharis also were following the same standard. Sometimes the brahmacharis used to get up very early in the morning, 2:33, and chant their rounds, do the morning program, and then continue to chant. And till late night, sometimes till 10, 11, they used to chant. And everyone, both the brahmacharis and the grahasthas, used to go and complain to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, saying that, it's difficult to chant 64 rounds. We don't get the time. We don't have the time to chant 64 rounds. It's very difficult uh, to find time to chant 64 rounds. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is to give only one answer. The reason why you don't have time to chant 64 rounds is to say, because you're engaged in prajalp, in talking all nonsense. Prajalp is actually killing away your time. Because you're involved in prajalpa, that's why you're not finding time to chant 64 rounds. So this was the standard, and we all know that Srila Prabhupada, when he went first to the West, this is the standard, he said. But the Westerners, he said, no, this is impossible. Then Prabhupada said, okay, 32. Said, that's also not possible. Then Prabhupada said, 16. No more, less than 16. But Prabhupada knew, because especially for the Western devotees, it is difficult for them to concentrate for long periods. In fact, Prabhupada's lectures, if you see on Bhagavad Gita, they are not more than 30 to 45 minutes. Prabhupada never gave a 1 hour lecture because they cannot concentrate. So he fixed this standard, although the standard was 64 because of a temporary situation. But Prabhupada expected, as we stick to the standard of 16 rounds and further advance over a period of time, 10 years, 15 years, he wanted his disciples to increase their rounds slowly, with taste, with quality. The quantity should increase. So this is the standard. Now, especially in ISKCON, in today's scenario, India is also like a Western world today. So how we can chant quality 16 rounds is by regularly attending japa retreats, where various sannyasis give seminars on japa, and there is 64 round chanting. So if we start regularly attending these japa retreats and experience wonderful results in our 64 round chantings, then the 16 rounds everyday chanting becomes easy. We are able to focusedly do our 16 rounds, and especially during Ekadasi, or during especially some of the occasions like Pandav Nirjal Ekadasi or Haridas Thakur's appearance and disappearance, we should try to chant 64 rounds, so that every day we can chant our 16 rounds attentively. So this is Nirbandha about 64 rounds, and practically the term is, actually the real meaning is incessantly. Chanting incessantly is the positive measure taken to prevent vikshepa or distraction. If one is distracted, one forgets to chant with attention. But if one brings back to the holy name again and again, one has to bring back, one has to tell the mind to come back to the holy name. My dear mind, don't wander, come and sit and hear the holy name. Yato yato nischalati manas chanchalam astaram tatastato niyameta atman nayam vasham nayet. So this is a very important principle we should remember regularly whenever the mind wanders. Firstly, we should become conscious while chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Oh, my mind has wandered. The very fact that you become conscious that the mind has wandered, that means you are aware. The awareness of the consciousness is there. Once you become aware, oh, my mind has wandered, then you'll have to train the mind to bring it back. Make him sit here next to you, and my dear mind, please sit and hear attentively the Mahamantra. So this is the principle we'll have to follow from the Bhagavad Gita. Yato yato nischalati manas chanchalam asthiram. The mana is chanchala. It is fickle. It will jump from one thought to another thought very quickly at the speed of light. But then when you become aware, Atman neva mashyam nayet. Bring it back to the self and hear the mantra. So chanting incessantly is the positive application to prevent vikshepa or distraction. Srila Rupa Goswami in his Upadeshamrit says, Utsa nishchaya dhairya tat tat karma pravartanat. So this is the famous verse, text 3 of Upadeshamrit. Sangatyaga shato vritti shadbhir bhaktir prasiddhati. Prasiddhati means one will surely attain success. Siddhati means success. Prasiddhati means 100%. Surely he'll attain success if he follows these 6 principles. Utsahan. Utsahan means enthusiasm. To be enthusiastic about our devotional service, to be enthusiastic to go to the temple to hear Krishna Katha, to be enthusiastic to chant our rounds. Nishchaya means sincerity, that is determination, fixed resolve, as we spoke, and then dhairyat means patience, tat tat karma pravartanat, following the regulative principles of Navvida Bhakti. So enthusiastically chanting with patience and confidence. So this is also like a reference directly to counteract Audasin, Jad and Vikshep. Audasin, Jad and Vikshep are all namaprads grouped under the heading of pramad, which means inattention or madness. And sincerity or fixed resolve, enthusiasm, and chanting incessantly, placing one's attention on the holy name of the Lord, are the positive applications to prevent pramad. So these are the 3 negative things, and these are the 3 positive things which we have to apply in order to get rid of pramad. Once a sadhaka has implemented these 3 positive applications and goes still further in his battle with the inattentive mind, he is allowed to clearly hear the Mahamantra while there is no more disturbances from the internal dialogue between his mind and intelligence. So usually when we chant, the internal dialogue begins with the mind and the intelligence. So if we implement these 3 positive applications, then we can hear the Mahamantra. And when we hear the Mahamantra enters deep in the heart and uproots the anarthas. We cross this internal dialogue actually. So in the next class, I will be showing you a mandala. This will be a very interesting discussion where I'll show a mandala of the various distractions which we have to transcend for us to hear the Mahamantra, and the Mahamantra has to reach the heart. So that will become more clear when we discuss the mandala in the next class. Please therefore take seriously the offense of inattention, which manifests as Audasin, Jad and Vikshep, as progression is made by uprooting the weeds of anarthas and not planting more. So that means if you succumb to Audasin, Jad and Vikshep, you end up planting more weeds. That means instead of giving water to the Bhakti Lata, where the Bhakti Lata starts growing, if you get distracted if you're lazy, then you're watering the weeds. The anarthas are going to increase, whereas you're supposed to uproot the anarthas. And to uproot the anarthas, the counteraction has been discussed. So this is about Audasin, Jad and Vikshep. There is another important principle which I want to discuss before we end the discussion on these verses. But I would like to know if there are any questions before we go into another important principle. Radhika Mataji, you have a question? Yes, Mataji. I've unmuted it. Yeah.
No, Prabhuji, I have no questions.
You have no questions, so you have raised your hand. That's why I saw.
Maybe by mistake, Prabhuji.
Maya Narasimha Prabhuji, you have a question?
Ha, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, one clarification, Prabhuji. I just glanced through Harinam Chintamani. So, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur is stressing on Vaishnava Association and chanting in the Vaishnava Association for all the three, I think, sir. So, what is your view on that, Prabhuji?
Yes, not only for inattention, but for avoiding all other 10 offenses, Bhaktivinoda Thakur stresses on Vaishnava association. Yes, chanting the association of devotees, especially in the environment of a temple, in front of Tulsi Maharani and sitting in round circles and chanting very softly, is a very powerful tool to avoid these three pramāds, Audasin, Jad and Vikshep. It is very, very powerful tool. In fact, even if one sincere devotee is absorbed in chanting the holy name, just seeing him can have a tremendous impact on you in order to also improve your chanting. What to speak, if that especially it is always recommended if there are very advanced devotees in their association, we should chant. And especially we should every year make it a point, resolve just to go to the Holy Dham to sit and chant there. So that when we come back home, we can absorb those positive spiritual impressions which can be there for all the time whenever we are at home chanting. And especially those who are grahasthas who cannot regularly come to the temple for morning chanting, it is recommended that they chant in again a secluded place within their home. There is a concept called as sacred space. Sacred space, sacred means that which is very spiritual. Sacred space is a space within ourselves in the heart, and it is a space externally created. Now, this sacred space is especially important for devotees who are staying in the cities. Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, although they were staying in Ramkeli and they were big ministers involved in big management of an empire of Nawab Hussain Shah, in their home, they had created a sacred space in the form of Vrindavan. They had actually manifested Vrindavan there. And there they used to go, have Bhagavad Katha, do their chanting, and they were like absorbed in the Vrindavan atmosphere there. So similarly, within our homes, we'll have to find a space where we can have Tulsi Maharani or pictures of our favorite deities, where we can go in that space and absorb ourselves in chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So this principle is very, very important. In business circles, a businessman, moment he goes to his office and sits on his seat there, immediately he gets tuned that, oh, today I have to attend to this business, I have to attend to this meeting, I have to do this, I have to do that. So, moment he sits in his office chamber, he goes to his chamber and sits on his seat there, he gets tuned into all these things, what he has to do. Similarly, we have to go into a space where we create a sacred space where we get tuned into the holy name. So we have to chant japa not in our world, but we have to chant japa in Krishna's world. So we have to create a Krishna's world externally in the form of a sacred space and internally in our heart where we can get tuned to the holy name and absorb ourselves in the holy name. So these are some practical things which we'll have to do, both for working devotees and even for those who are staying in the ashram. I hope it is clear, Maya Narsimha Prabhuji.
Thanks, Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Okay. Satananda Chaitanya Prabhu has a question. Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, yes, Prabhu. It's Satanand Chaitanya Das.
Okay, please tell me.
Prabhu, I have a question regarding the posturing. We were speaking yesterday. Due to a leg operation, it's difficult for me to sit in Padmasana. Even if I sit on the floor, both my legs tend to go numb. So I'm really struggling with the chanting because after some time, it's caused a lot of discomfort for me. So what do you suggest would be a good posture so that I don't get distracted by these bodily things and I can concentrate more on hearing the Harinam?
Yeah. It depends on what your doctor has recommended. That is it conducive for you to sit and sit for some hours, at least half an hour or 1 hour? Is it conducive? If it is not conducive to sit, then you have no other option. Then you'll have to sit on a chair. But as I was explaining, when you sit on a chair, you need not rest your back like this. Go back and relax, because the moment you go to relax, the mind will tend to sleep. So subtle, it's very subtle. So you'll have to sit again straight, even if you're sitting on the chair in a straight posture, and then try to chant. And maybe because you're saying that you might have numbness, maybe you might feel that I have to walk and chant. So even if you have to walk and chant, you'll have to keep your head down and only observe the front portion where you have to walk, so that there is no other obstruction or there is nothing in between, and try to hear the mantra. And you can do that few rounds like this, although it is not recommended, but you can do that. And again come back and sit and chant a rounds. So that is what you can do. Over a period of years, when we are in a very advanced stage, even when you're walking and chanting, you can be fully absorbed. But that happens at the very, very advanced stage. But till then, Bhaktivinoda Thakur now is going to speak in the next theme, that as long as one has not developed anurag for chanting, anurag means deep attraction for chanting, that only refers to bhava and prema stage. Till then, we'll have to avoid these distractions. So then you'll have to walk, and you'll have to find out from some yoga teacher. The numbness is because of the flow of the blood circulation happening, and what are the exercises you'll have to do so to maintain the blood circulation, so that you can also sit and chant. And I don't know, maybe swastik asana is a better asana because it's a very relaxed pose where you can sit and chant. Maybe in the next class we will discuss those asanas, and then I will go to the mandala discussion. That I'll take it up in the next class. Okay, Prabhuji?
Yeah, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay. So Shushil Radhika Mataji has a question. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. And I don't have any question, but I just wanted to share something with what you said just before this. When we are in association of exalted devotees, of very sincere devotees who have developed taste for name, like His Grace Krishnanand Prabhuji. So whenever we are in his association, our chanting goes to some another level. So just and he always, when he is in Pune, he tries to take us on Ekadashi in Dehu or somewhere, and there we try to chant 64 rounds. And whenever we and when we even when we think of him, our chanting goes to some other level. So I just
Yes.
wanted to share that with you.
Yes, yes. Thinking, especially before we begin our chanting, we can have even the picture of our spiritual masters, and especially the deity pictures, whichever attraction we have. There is something called as the Ishtadev. Every Goswami among the 6 Goswamis had their personal deities. Although all are worshippers of Radha and Krishna, but they had their personal deities. Radha Damodar, Radha Gopinath, Radha Madan Mohan. Sanatan Goswami's deities were Madan Mohan. Radha Govind Dev was Rup Goswami. And like that, all the acharyas, the Goswamis had their Ishtadev. So similarly, we have very beautiful deities in all the ISKCON centers. Somebody might, his heart, now here I mean heart, I mean the soul, is more attracted to Radha Gopinath or Radha Madhav or Radha Giridhari. So we can keep these pictures and chant not to complete our nouns, but for their pleasure. That we should have this meditation that I am chanting for their pleasure. Chanting is done not just to finish our rounds, but as a service to Radha and Krishna. So these kind of meditations help us. The principle is called as not in a achiever's mood, but in a receiver's mood. I don't chant to finish my 16 rounds. That is the achiever's mood. But I chant in a receiver's mood. I chant to receive the grace of the Lordships, the grace of Nam Prabhu. So when we are in this receiver mood, then the mind, first of all, if you sit and think that, okay, I have to chant my 16 rounds, the mind will say 16 rounds, 108 names into 16 words into 108 and into 16. My goodness, such a huge task. Oh, it is so tiring. So the mind gives these kind of reasonings. So that's why I'm chanting for the pleasure of Radha and Krishna. If this mood we have, then we can battle with the mind. Reena Mataji has a question. Yes, Mataji.
कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम। अरे हाँ, आ रहा है ना आवाज प्रभु जी? हरे कृष्णा।
Yeah, I'm able to hear.
हाँ,
Yes.
प्रभु जी मेरे को एक्चुअली ना ये बोलना बताना था कि मेरे को एक्चुअली रिकॉर्डिंग आपकी क्लास की मेरी बहुत सारी पीछे की भी मिस हो गई है। मेरे को रिकॉर्डिंग अगर चाहिए तो कहाँ मिलेगी प्रभु जी?
I will send it. I will send it. You just send the email address. I will send it.
व्हाट्सएप नंबर बेटर या
Yeah,
ईमेल पे? हाँ,
yeah. You can note down the WhatsApp number. I'll send it.
ओके ओके। और प्रभु जी मेरे को ये एक था जस्ट रिक्वेस्ट कि आपका क्लास होने के बाद आप लास्ट में एक रिवीजन एज ए रिवीजन जो मेन पॉइंट्स बता सकते तो हमारा मतलब वो मतलब ना दो बार हम सुनते तो याद नहीं रहता है पॉइंट्स, तो आप लास्ट में अगर 2-3 में हाँ यस जस्ट समराइज अगर कर सकते तो बहुत अच्छा रहेगा।
Okay, fine.
तो
fine.
पूरा क्लास का स्टार्ट लास्ट में तो फिर पॉइंट्स हमारे ध्यान में आ जाएंगे।
I usually summarize also when I begin a new class. I summarize what I've discussed in the previous discussion so that we can continue the discussion. But at the end of the class also, I will do that. Fine.
ओके, थैंक यू प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम।
Any other
आज
questions?
का भी अगर आज का भी हो जाएगा तो समराइज अच्छा हो जाएगा। यस।
Any other questions anyone has? Okay. So let us summarize what we discussed today. So we have been still discussing about the 3 types of pramad, that is Audasin, Jad, and Vikshep. And in the last class, we discussed some of the most important principles to avoid the distraction of the mind and the senses and the body also. In that context, we discussed 3 important principles: the pranayam technique to regulate the air in the body so that the mind can hear attentive the holy name, The second important principle was focusing the inner sight on the Agya Chakra, which is a little difficult because it is very straining. Initially, it is very, very straining, and you'll have to put a lot of energy and you'll get exhausted. So, better to fix on the tip of the nose and attentively hear the chanting of the Maha Mantra. And we should do it in such a smooth way, in a relaxed way, that people seeing us also, they should not think, oh, what is he doing? So we should do it in such a way that it is very relaxed, and otherwise if you sit like this very serious, they can understand, what is happening. We have to do it in a very relaxed way. And this principle also avoids the senses getting distracted towards the sense objects and the mind wandering here and there in the environment. The third important principle which we discussed is the posture, how samam kaya shirogrivam. So the posture helps us to also hear the Maha Mantra. It is very important we sit in a particular posture and not see here and there while chanting. And we discussed how there is a posture where the head is bent down, it is tamasic. When the head is shaking, it is rajasic. When the head is a little straight and looking at one point, then it is sattvic. So this is how the posture helps. So after that, we discussed about there are 3 prerequisites in order to counteract Audasin, Jad and Vikshep. And that we refer to the Chaitanya Charitamrita verse. Chaitanya Bhagavat verse, Mahaprabhu speaking. Like this, you take the holy name and you have to do it nirbandh and you'll attain success. So from that, we picked up 3 important points. One is sincerity, second is enthusiasm, third is nirbandh, chanting incessantly. Sincerity, enthusiasm, incessantly, or 64 rounds. Sincerity means fixed resolve, fixed determination that I will sit and finish my 10 rounds or 8 rounds or 16 rounds without moving anywhere. I will fix and do that. So this is sincerity. I'm showing my sincerity in chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. This will counteract audasin, indifference or apathy, what it is called. The second is enthusiasm. Be enthusiastic to finish your rounds and maintain that enthusiasm while chanting. So being enthusiastic, you can counteract Jad. Jad is basically laziness or sleep. And the third is incessantly, that is nirbandh. And when we chant like this incessantly, then we can avoid the distractions of the mind. And the important principle was from the Gita, yato yato nischalati manaschanchalam astiram tatastato niyametad atmanneva vasham neyet. So we have to become aware that the mind has wandered. And the moment we become conscious the mind has wandered, we have to bring the mind back to the holy name and chant the holy name. And this, when we do it over a period of time, then we can, with these positive 3 counteractions, we can avoid audasin, Jad and Vikshep. And we can uproot the root of all offenses, that is pramad. So in the next class, I will discuss, we will stop here. I will discuss in the Yoga Sutras, the 5 states of the mind are discussed. That has to do with Vikshep discussion, what we had today. And then I will discuss the mandala. How, when do we actually hear the holy name? And how the holy name enters the heart and cleanses us, cleanses the heart from all the anarthas. We will discuss the mandala in that context. And also I will discuss posture, because posture was the third important principle, that 4 different postures which are recommended in the Yoga, Patanjali Yoga Sutras. I will discuss that. And then we will go to the next verses in the next class. So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai. Shri Harinam Chintamani ki Jai. Hare Krishna.